I love when things keep popping up again and again and they frustrate you because that is what needs to be shared. And I was just talking with Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting, and we were talking about episode titles. He totally called me out because I am in his community. He is one of my mentors, but he called me out in a good way. He said, would you rather listen to or click on this episode that said episode 52, Dave Jackson, or as Jen put it, beating podcast burnout with Dave Jackson, strategies to set up your show, or whatever the episode was. You can go back to episode 70 and check that out. And then we started having this conversation because at this point I'm like, do I respond? Because I'm voting for myself, but you are making some crazy mistakes with your show title, which is preventing new people who happen to stumble across your show. You're deterring them from actually clicking play, and they're moving on, and they may never find you again. So are you ready to talk about this, how to name your episode thing? And I'll give you some really cool, easy peasy, lemon squeezy tools to use to help you find that perfect episode title. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Cure for Pod Fade. I am so excited you found your way here because that means you know how powerful podcasting can be. You are ready to build a legacy with your unique story, your message, and your offer, but you're getting a little overwhelmed. You're feeling frustrated, you're feeling stuck. You just don't know how to grow your show, find a new audience, and make some money. Podcasting can be the ticket to the life of your dreams, and it doesn't have to be as hard as you think. We're talking about all the ingredients it takes to be a successful, profitable podcaster without that icky overwhelm, because you are too magical to join the 85% plus club that pod fades away. I'm your host, Jen Dragonette, so let's make podcasting easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, when you see something a bunch and it just makes you so pissed off and you want to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, I see you're doing this way. Can I ask you why? Because there's a better way. I know that you're a coach. I know that you're a service provider, and you see this within your niche all the time. Well, episode titles has been clearly beaten into my head after being called out by the Dave Jackson of School of Podcasting for being the good one. I immediately went into another group and saw the same thing. Episode 107, person's name, and that was it. I was like, well, why the hell am I going to listen to that? I don't know who that person is. That doesn't interest me. That's not going to show up in a search. That's not going to do anything. So I want to talk about some podcast title etiquette with a little side of SEO that will help your show get found and have people click and play. Now, after they click play, that's a whole nother episode because you better be delivering value in that first minute or they're going to click off. Hint, hint, go back to the episode that was all about hooks versus intros, which I will put in the show notes because you might be doing that wrong too. And we like to fix things here because we want it to be the cure for podfade. We want to make it easy, peasy, lemon squeezy. And we want you to get the growth and reach the goals that you desire because this platform is truly a legacy. So let's talk about etiquette. Podcast episode title etiquette. First off, if you are using the entire word episode in your title, please stop. I'm begging you. Just if you take anything away, stop that. And if you're putting episode numbers, if you're just putting the number like the show, you can put it in the beginning because I will be eventually remembering the numbers and referring you to those exact numbers. But if you're going to start putting anything more in those really valuable first 6 or 7 words, don't let it be the word episode. Come on. Look at your podcast app. I want you to open it up right now. Look at it. Well, if you're driving, wait till you pull over. because I don't want you getting in a car crash and then blaming it on Jen. But I want you to look at your app and see how much of every episode that you have posted actually shows up in the podcast player. Yes, we want keywords. Yes, we want to be able to have these long, beautiful titles, but those first 6 or 7 words, those things that actually show up on the podcast players that are on phones and devices, those are the critical ones. Do you got that? The critical ones are those first words. So if you are wasting a whole bunch of space writing out the word episode and then wasting more space with some numbers and then putting your guest's name right in the front, I mean, unless you have a really big guest and that's the drive for the show and anyone's going to push play just because of who they are, make sure that the juiciest content is in those first 6 or 7 words. Yep. You can go on after that. You can go ahead and ramble all you want. But those first 6 or 7 words are critical for someone to pique interest and push play. Even your audience that loves you, is a diehard fan, is not going to push play on an episode that isn't for them. We're not telling them anything. What are you telling your people with that title? And I had to put this out. And, you know, like I said, I was having this conversation with Dave Jackson because he called me out for being one of the good ones. And this is something that I have worked on over and over again. You can see it in this show. You can see it in my Feed Your Business with Love show. I am putting in some valiant effort. I am doing the keyword research. And let me tell you, before my BFF came to market called Capsho, I was putting a lot of time. I was going to Google Trends. I was going into where you set up Google Ads and you can do all the, you can search for trends. You can search for key terms. I was using, what else was I using? There was a few keyword searches that I was using. And then came Capsho. ChatGPT, I don't love it because here's the thing. It's pulling from all the internet, not from the words that you used in your specific episode. So it starts making some stuff up on you. But it is really important. It is really, really important. There are so many shows that I love that I don't listen to every single week and I skip over because their titles are episode number, person's name. I just had somebody reach out to me and it's like, you've got to come to this event. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so fun. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. And as a podcast host, this is what will happen for you. Oh, and as a bonus, we'll throw in a ticket because this person is in town. And I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. Why does this matter to me? You got to remember that people don't always know the person. And I totally forgot this because again, we're talking about Dave here. I totally fangirled out when I met him because his book was the first thing that I bought to help me on my podcast journey. The Profit from Your Podcast book. It's gold. If you don't have it, you haven't listened to School of Podcasting, although I am your podcast girl, still gold, still love him, still need a mentor. If you don't have a mentor in your same niche, you're not learning, you're not growing, and I wouldn't be able to bring it to you. But anyways, I was talking to him and I fangirled out big time. And we were walking around and I had met some other people and Dave walks up and I'm like, oh my God, guys, it's the Dave Jackson. And everyone kind of looked at me like, okay. And at that moment, I realized not every single person knew who Dave Jackson was. And I was like, okay, there's the proof right there. There's the proof in the pudding. Somebody who is really, really in your space, in your line of sight, might not be in the line of sight for everyone else. So if you are just wasting your episode title, that critical place, that few spots where you can get organic traffic without having to search for your audience, if you're just putting episode number, Jen Dragonette, guess what? Nobody's going to push play and nobody's going to find it. Just period, end story. So why I bring this up is because after our conversation, I had to start looking. I really, truly had to start looking at, oh shit, like, did I do this? Have I done this? And I realized that I hadn't, but even some of my favorite shows did. And you know how, well, I don't know on all the apps because I listen to all my podcasts on Apple Podcasts still. I know I need to jump in and get into this day and time and listen on a different app, but it shows you which episodes are played and which episodes are not. If somebody just had a person's name in there, I did not ever push play. Ever. So be really, really careful with those first 6 to 7 words when naming your show. And I'm saying this with love. I'm calling you out with love. I am begging you on my knees and pleading, please make these changes because I want people to find you. Your story matters. Your story is someone's life raft. Your story, your gifts, your magic is what someone needs. And if you can't be found because you are titling your episodes incorrectly, oh, it breaks my heart. It truly breaks my heart. So if you need help with this, you obviously can come hang out in the community. But really, what I want you to do is get your butt on one of those 30-minute free podcast CPR audits. What this is 30 minutes of my coaching. And no, this is not a bait and switch. I'm going to try to sell you something. If I serve you enough in that 30-minute coaching call that's all you need, great. If you want more, you know that there's ways to work with me. If you want more after that, I also have a free community and this podcast. It is a no pressure, no sales. I want to give you 30 minutes of my time to help your show grow because my mission on this planet is to help people that don't want to be a ripple maker, want to be a tsunami impact maker. So if that is you, grab one of those calls before I decide this is no longer fun to do free calls. That's 30 minutes of my undivided attention on your show. You can get that at podcastcpr.com. It's super easy. Podcastcpr.com because your business has flatlined, meaning your passion, your profits, and you're definitely not playing to all this flatline thing. We are going to pump it up with a little CPR. We're going to get clear on our purpose so that we can revive our revenue. And that's what I want for your show. So again, podcastcpr.com, and I will see you very, 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 very soon. Go out and make today amazing because you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are worthy, and you got this.